Oh my goodness, that's a big fish, guys. Right in the snoot. I am definitely a fan.
You know, there's a lot of factors that go into when and where and why you would choose to fish finesse techniques. The weather, the temperature, the water clarity, how much pressure is on that lake. You either love finesse fishing or you'll do it if you have to. For me, I fall in that latter category because I love power fishing. I love my casting rods. I love the control, the accuracy, and the power that I can get out of a casting rod. But if I do have to go finesse fishing, I'm like everybody else, I'm forced to use one of my spinning rods. What would you say if I told you there's a way that you can now drop that spinning rod and pick up a casting rod and still fish all of your favorite finesse techniques? Welcome to BFS. BFS, Bait Finesse Systems. Uniquely designed casting reels that finally allow you to fish your favorite finesse techniques on your casting equipment. All the power, control, and accuracy that you have with your casting equipment, but on those tiny finesse techniques. And this right here, this is the brand new KASTKING Kestrel BFS reel. KASTKING knocked it out of the park with this one and put some amazing technology into this tiny palm-sized little reel. The KASTKING Kestrel is currently the lightest bait casting reel ever produced, coming in at a whopping 4.4 ounces. They did that with an all magnesium frame and carbon fiber side plates, a unique 80mm carbon fiber handle, and the world's lightest production spool coming in at less than 4.6 grams. But there's a lot more to BFS reels than just making them ultra light. You're going to need excellent braking systems. You're going to need to be able to cast those ultra light little lures and techniques out there. And when you're talking about any kind of finesse fishing, even with your spinning equipment, that drag is super important. And it's important to be able to play those fish because you're using light line, like 8-pound, 6-pound, 4-pound test line. You got to have a good drag system to be able to fight those fish. Just because you're using small lures doesn't mean you're catching small fish. And KASTKING put an audible drag on there. It's really cool. Just like your spinning rods, you can now hear it when you're actually playing and fighting those fish. One of the most unique designs of any BFS reel is in that spool right there. Not only is it ultra light, it's very shallow because you're only putting on very light line. But that's going to allow that to give you a better accuracy and better distance out of your casting when you're using ultra light lures. KASTKING put a ton of ingenuity into the braking system alone. And that's very important because you got to be able to slow down that spool really quickly with those ultralight little lures. KASTKING really knocked it out of the park on this one, and you're really able to fine-tune that more than you've ever done on any braking system before. But no matter how technical they got in designing the Kestrel, none of that matters if it can't cast those ultralight lures. So only one thing to do here, let's put it to the test the way I do best, and let's see if we can't fish this new BFS KASTKING Kestrel on some of my favorite finesse techniques. Out on the water, I got it all rigged up, ready to go. I actually put on KASTKING's brand new braid. It's an 8X finesse braid. It's 8-pound braid. It's incredibly thin, incredibly smooth, and I got attached to that 12-foot, 6-pound KASTKING covert fluorocarbon leader. 8-pound braid, 6-pound fluorocarbon leader. That's incredibly small, especially for a casting rod. I've also put the new Kestrel on a KASTKING Para G2. This is a 7-foot medium fast action rod. I believe that 7 foot, that little extra length, is going to help me get a little bit more casting distance because it can load up. There's a little more rod to load up. And that fast action of a tip is really going to help out with those smaller lures as well. I'm going to try out some of my favorite techniques when it comes to finesse fishing. I'm going to throw a little bit of Ned Rigs. We got some little tiny Flukes, some little tiny Topwaters. It should be a good day. Let's put this to the test and see how good we can do with the new Kestrel BFS reel. All right, for lure number 1, it's hard to go finesse without wanting to throw a Ned Rig. And I'm going to try that out. Now, this is actually the small Ned Rig. This is a 1/10 ounce, I believe, is the size of that head there. And then add the little extra weight that's on here. You're talking about 1/16 of an ounce in total weight here. Ultra light. I've never thrown anything like this on casting equipment before. I've never thrown a Ned Rig on anything but spinning rod before, so it's going to be quite a test here. We're going to put the brakes on maximum, see how far we can cast it, and see how well it controls it before we end up fine-tuning it down, adjusting the brakes to get it to where it wants. But there it is. And there is a tension knob on here. I've tightened that down just enough so it only allows the bait, as small it is, to just slowly drop. But here we go, cast number 1, 1/16 ounce. No bird's nest, that's a bonus. That would have given me a fit trying to do that on regular casting equipment. I've never done that before. I'm gonna back that brake off just a little bit. That 10 now, let's see where that goes. That definitely got me at least 10 more feet. So with little effort, I'm already able to cast this small little Ned rig here about 40 feet and not really having to work too hard with that, and 0 bird's nest whatsoever. Now I'm gonna see how accurately I can do that, because it is casting equipment. That's the whole point to me, is control and accuracy. So far, for 1/16 ounce weight, I'm having real good luck being able to cast this where I want. My accuracy is good, my control is great, and my distance is actually fairly impressive already, and I haven't even toned it down yet. Let's give it a little heave. Honestly, that went at least 50 feet out to the side here. No bird's nest whatsoever. That's pretty cool. Very impressive. So I'm sitting about 60 feet off of this Kissimmee grass edge line, and I'm literally casting with very good accuracy up against the edge of that grass with a 1/16 ounce little Ned rig. It's not a weedless lure, so I'm trying not to get it into the grass, and I'm very impressed with a distance that I am, as well as how accurate I'm able to do it. So it's time to try something else. And what we're gonna do now is one of my favorite finesse techniques, and that's the mini zoom super fluke. Little super fluke junior, I believe they call that. It's just about a 3-inch bait, a little soft plastic, not a lot of weight to this whatsoever. And I've got a 1/0 offset straight shank hook on that weightless. 0 weight at all. So this is all the weight there is, whatever this hook weighs and whatever this little tiny soft plastic. But if we can cast it with this and work it properly with this, that's a huge advantage, because I've always had to use spinning equipment for this technique before. That's pretty cool. I got a good distance. I got at least 50 feet on it, maybe 60 feet, and I could probably do a heck of a lot more if I actually tone it in a little bit. This thing is probably one of the lightest lures that I would ever cast, and that's incredible. I got it all the way to those weeds, exactly on the point that I was trying to get it at. Really, the whole point out here today is just to test these lures out anyway, and see how well I can actually operate with this KASTKING Kestrel, with this new BFS reel. That tiny little Fluke, I can whip that thing pretty easily a good 60 feet with accuracy. The most important thing about using a BFS reel, or the ability of a BFS reel, is to be able to give me that accuracy, that control, and that power that I'm used to having with casting equipment, but still be able to use finesse techniques like this when they're honing in on smaller bait, or when really nothing but a finesse approach is going to work. So here is my typical spinning outfit, but you can already see tied onto it already, I have a little popper, because this is the outfit that I use this little popper with all the time. I'm going to switch this popper off of the spinning rod, and I'm going to put it on my new BFS reel here and see how well Topwater works, that I usually always use on spinning gear. This little popper here, only about 2 inches long to maybe 2.5 inches long. It's nice and tiny. It's got a lot of little rattles on it. But the key to working something like this, I don't want to typically throw it in open water unless I see some schooling fish or something. This dark popper works really good around that cover, and I've always had to do it with spinning gear because that's the only thing that could actually throw something this light. Now with this BFS, I should be able to work this around that grass and be accurate with my casts in the little pockets in between the grass, where these treble hooks aren't going to get fouled up and caught up into that grass.
Let's see. This is cool. So I know you guys can't see this, but I'm about 60 yards off of this, or 60 feet off of this grass line. My trolling motor's died. It's not working at all. So I'm letting the wind blow me across. I'm moving pretty quick, and I'm accurately hitting the little pockets and the little edges and the little points of this grass with this popper. That's really cool. Well, that's awesome, guys. Honestly, I can't think of a better test for it right there. This little popper, I don't know what it weighs, but it's probably about 1/4 of an ounce, somewhere around there. It's pretty light, it's very small. But I'm casting 60 to 70 feet with that breaks down to about 7 on this, accurately hitting little pockets in an entire grass line when I have no control over my boat. That is very cool. And this couldn't have been done with spinning equipment, I promise you. That Kestrel, this thing's awesome. Got one more test. I know where there's a brush pile or two. Let's see if we can throw a drop shot on it. All right, for the last bit, we're gonna do a drop shot. Got a little tiny octopus hook and a 1/8 ounce tungsten bell sinker. Oh my goodness, that's a big fish, guys. We got a big one. Oh yeah. 6-pound test. This is a good fish, guys. There he is. Yes. On that drop shot. Listen to that drag. This is why you have that drag right there. Yeah. BFS, baby. This is the deal right here, guys. Get him in the boat. Look at that. That is just plain awesome right there. That KASTKING Kestrel on a tiny little 1/8 ounce bell sinker, and you can see the hook right in his mouth. Beautiful little bass. That is what it's all about, and I am super glad I got this reel, and I'm now in the world of BFS because, baby, that is awesome right there. That's what it's all about. Catching good fish on a drop shot on a casting equipment. Never fished a drop shot on casting equipment before, but now I can, and this is the results. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Mwah. Thank you, baby. Woo! Right in the snoot. I love it. I am definitely a fan of BFS. I really truly didn't know what to think about the new Kestrel here. BFS was foreign to me. Bait Finesse System though, but I'm a huge fan now. A lot of these finesse techniques that I always had to use spinning gear for now, I now have complete power and control over with casting gear. And to me, that's awesome. I can now fish them in different ways, different places. Just opens up my whole finesse world that much more having this. Very highly impressed. I am a huge fan, and I highly recommend you all take a chance and look at the new Kestrel from KASTKING.